Right, another clip of nothing but grinding, at least as far as I can tell. But hey, we're high enough level that I think Garm can do a good job in his old stomping grounds. I don't like the idea of him taking on Geodudes, but hey, he's been growing at a good rate despite spending a decent amount of time knocked out in the previous clip. Tempted to see how he handles himself against a Machop this time, but considering the encounter rate in here and how long it'll take to get to the other side of the cave, it's probably better to play it safe for now. The hell? There was another trainer in here. Sure, most of our team is over-leveled for him, but still, he most definitely caught me off guard here. You? I'm more comfortable with you taking on this Machop at the moment. Well, that one was quick and painless. May as well do the old switch out for Garms against this Onix as well. Sure, I suppose we could Ember it down, but being the same level as something you're weak to is rarely a good idea, even if we've yet to meet an Onix that actually impressed us. Right, now that the random trainer I somehow missed is out of the way, time to get back to our regularly scheduled grinding. Sorry, but as much as I like the musical shout-out there, I don't think it works especially well in a text-only environment. Good luck with that, because I don't think we'll ever meet again. And even if we did, I somehow doubt I'd recognize you. We've certainly faced a lot of hitchhikers in this cave after all. The only thing that really made you notable was when we ran into you, and you did that musical joke there. Well, it's about time we ran into a bat in this cave. I was starting to wonder if they'd migrated or something. And we're back to dealing with non-Zubats. I swear, caves in this game seem to tick me off in any little way they can. Just a step or two away from the next ladder, too. Again, it's not that we're in an especially big hurry, and even if we were, fast-forwarding would help alleviate part of the problem. It's just oddly hilarious that so many areas outside of caves feel so relaxed in this game, but once you're committed to going from one end to a cave to another, you are absolutely guaranteed to go through a brutal gauntlet, the likes of which require you to be several levels above the creatures inside to have a hope of making it in that trivial trip. And even then, you run the risk of running out of moves for your Pokemon with the sheer number of random wild encounters on your way through. I'm pretty sure that people who use only a single Pokemon to clear the entire game dread caves even more than I do. Yeah, level 13 Onix wasn't all that threatening to Garm at this point. I guess I could have tried again to capture one, but I'm just not feeling it. Ah, well, at least I'm confident enough in Garm now that I can let him burn rocks. And considering that's the most effective move Garm has against these things, I can't help feeling annoyed that we keep seeing the not very effective text. Hell, how many times have we seen that in this game? And when I finally get around to doing the other generations, will I see the not very effective notification less often? Again, it's not a major annoyance, but it's still a little ridiculous, especially considering just how many battles we have won with not very effective moves. It's actually kind of funny, when I first started this LP, I thought returning to Pokemon Red with a Bulbasaur instead of my usual and the downright cliché at this point, Charmander, would encourage me to be a bit more tactical. Instead, I am just brute forcing my way through. You can take the fire starter away from the trainer, but you can't take the fire tactics out of the trainer. And of course, the absolute first battle we get into in Garm's old stomping grounds, we both trade critical hits. Part of me wants to go back to the Pokemon Center immediately because we're already in yellow condition after one damn hit. The other is too busy laughing that I thought we were absolutely ready to come back here, and just one Pokemon in, we get slapped hard. Still, that is not the kind of damage you want to take when you're just trying to raise your level fighting the same things over and over again, even if it doesn't actually knock you out. Good God! The overworld music didn't even get a chance to go through 3 notes before it was interrupted again. Why even bother ending the fight music if it's gonna start again that quickly anyway? But then by that same logic, why give us the Lavender Town theme when we're literally gonna start hearing the Pokemon Center one pretty soon after we enter the town? The music overall is good in this game, but we change tunes so quickly it's really hard to enjoy some of them. And a few are repeated to the point that hearing them over and over again just starts to drive you insane. Right, 2 fights and Garm is back in yellow condition. Yeah, back to the bloody Pokemon Center again. That certainly didn't take long, certainly shorter than the last time we were in that grass patch. I would say that Jack is probably pretty embarrassed that he had to go running to the Pokemon Center that quickly, but after so many visits to the Pokemon Centers, I think he probably feels it's more like home than his actual home is. Though maybe that's a bit unfair to say, since it'd be a very big pain in the ass to get back to Pallet Town after you get through Mount Moon. And it's not like we have anything to motivate us to go back to our hometown in this game. I know some people don't like the idea of backtracking in their role-player games, but personally, I'd like some motivation to go back to familiar territory occasionally. Unfortunately, the only real motivation we've got to revisit a previously visited town is for the sake of the 8th gym badge, and that's still a long ways off from here. Again, luck is such a big factor in Pokemon games, but considering they're generally pretty easy in single player when you don't limit yourself with a lot of gimmicks, It can be hard to realize that, so nobody really thinks all that much about having a run of bad or good luck in Pokemon unless they're doing a Nuzlocke. Or at least I've never heard of anyone bitching about the random number generators in regular Pokemon games like they would for XCOM. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. For some reason I was hoping Calm would level up again before the next time we went to the Pokemon Center. Well, may as well save now before going back to the grind. A grind that's going to go on for the rest of the clip, so I really need to think of some more things to talk about at the moment. Again, kind of wish that when they did Fire Red and Leaf Green, they'd done more to expand on what happened in each of the towns and gave us more to do in them. Sure, there are plenty of graphical and game mechanics changes to reflect how things evolved in the series from the original games to the Game Boy Advanced era, and they did add a good amount of post-game material, but it didn't really feel like they did much, if anything at all, to really expand on the events of the original game to make the world feel more alive and vibrant. Now, I'm not saying that the Game Boy Advanced remakes are terrible, just that they didn't feel like there was enough added into the equation to feel worth me going through the remake after doing the original in this particular way. They just didn't do anything to flesh out the characters or give you more to do in the various towns. And given the fact that I already went through the bare bones events twice in order to do the gimmick I've got for this generation and the next one, it just didn't feel worth my time, even if I would generally recommend Fire Red and Leaf Green over Red, Blue, and Yellow. Hell, I can't even recommend... Actually, no, wait, I would recommend Fire Red and Leaf Green over the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee remakes for the Switch. In terms of visual presentation, the Switch remakes added plenty of nice cutscenes and visuals that actually do make the world feel more alive in some ways. But your Pikachu or Eevee in the Let's Go games was overpowered to the point that whatever difficulty there is in the Kanto region just fades into nothingness. There's also the fact that I wasn't really a fan of the capture mechanics in Let's Go. Sure, it works very well for a mobile game like Pokemon Go, but it just doesn't feel right on a home console release. Sure, technically speaking, the Switch is more mobile than a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One or something, and has more going for it than most handheld systems, but still, the whole online functionality thing only works when you've got a Wi-Fi connection. And even if you have a connection, it's not like Nintendo is especially good when it comes to online gaming, since they don't have as much practice as Sony or Microsoft. Seriously. With an old Game Boy game or a more modern phone game, you can play while you're walking down a random street. Just think how many people play around with something small that can fit in one hand like an Android or iPhone. Then think about how many people use tablet-sized things while on the move. I'm not saying that the Let's Go remakes are absolute garbage, just that they were in some ways a way to test the concepts of Pokemon Go using a familiar setting, and kind of assumed that people would be more mobile while using the Switch. They were less interested in making the overall experience of the first generation better. They just wanted to see how their fresh ideas to potentially move forward with the franchise would pan out, which is a fine idea. Whereas the only thought for Fire Red and Leaf Green was to improve on the original product now that they were more familiar with the world they created and had refined how things worked. It wasn't as nice a remake as Metroid Zero Mission was to the original Metroid, and it wasn't as outright extensive as the Resident Evil remake was to the original Resident Evil. But Fire Red and Leaf Green was still an improvement, with no drawbacks or missteps. Let's Go was just an experiment. Some things work, some things didn't, and maybe it's just that I'm too nostalgic a bastard, but it felt like they lost some of the equation that made the first generation fun, despite the quirks when they reimagined it that particular time. Again, no clue how Roar is supposed to be a good thing for the player. I can't think of any situations where I'd personally use it when we have a perfectly usable run button for wild encounters if things got that bad for us. And again, in the first generation, it doesn't work at all in trainer battles, so it doesn't have any tactical merit for any of the more difficult battles you'll run into across the game. At this point, I probably could just go back to fighting the various trainers on the road. It'd certainly be less annoying than occasionally being kicked out of a fight due to the bullshit move Roar. I wouldn't even say that I dread going up against a fellow Growlithe in this patch of grass. Dread implies you're scared. I'm just exasperated, since we're trying to grind, and that particular type of Pokemon wants to stall us out occasionally, while we're trying to raise our levels so Garm is closer to even with the rest of the team. Am I over-leveling him? And is the rest of the team pretty over-leveled for what we're gonna have to deal with when we finally get to Celadon City? It's a little hard for me to tell, especially when you do this sort of thing often enough that you barely need to think about grinding anymore. Though I do kind of need to keep myself awake enough to at least give some commentary as we go on, even if this is a bit of a quiet moment. It's long periods of nothing like this that make me really jealous of streamers who can just call up friends to keep the commentary amusing, even in the quiet, nothing really happening moments of a playthrough. There's nobody for me to bounce off of other than myself and the game itself. So sorry if it comes off as boring sometimes. Hopefully the overall LP is still fun, even if some of the moments are a bit on the dull side. I'm just pretty sure that there are plenty of Pokemon LPs on the internet that are superior to mine in plenty of different ways. I personally am having fun making this step by step, so I suppose that's one of the more important things here. It's not like I'm outright trying to compete with anyone, or that I'm making money from all this. It's essentially just a time-consuming hobby I'm putting out there. And once again, Garm is looking kinda worn down. Again, back to the center. part of me wants to save now, but I'm pretty sure I can get a little more grinding done in this recording session. Very much doubt I'll get Garm up to 27 in the time remaining in this clip. I'd certainly be satisfied with 25, though. Wonder how many snakes, birds, and dogs we've left laying in this field in this clip alone. Certainly in the dozens, that's for sure. And there we go, Garm is up to level 25. He's certainly not quite at the same level as the rest of the team, but he's gotten pretty close after all this work. Again, part of me wishes there were a few more methods of training up a Pokemon than just throwing them into battles over and over again. I know, it's a thing for a lot of role-player games. The only way you get stronger is if you get into the thick of it. Still, considering the kind of world this is, there could easily be more ways to make your Pokemon stronger than either giving them drugs or having them fight so damn much. Well, at least we weren't roared away twice in a row. That would have been especially annoying. And this seems about as good a point as any to end the clip. Good amount of training done, even if there's been no actual progress in the story of this game. Not that this game has all that much of a story in the first place, but